much, and hello everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We have a very exciting webinar today. I'm going to start sharing my screen in just a second. We are going to be going through how to fill, prepare, send, and sign any realtor form in California. But I just wanted to start off and say hello and say that you guys are part of a very special group because you are the first group of agents to have access to our new offers tool that launches today. So you guys will be getting our first ever sneak peek of the offers tool. I have a couple slides to show you. And then right now in the chat, just before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and put in a link to attend any of our other trainings. So if you want more, if you maybe want to repeat this class, but we also have a full Glide offers training that's now available that you can register for. So I just put that in the chat right now. If you'd like to register for a full offers training, but you will get to see some very special sneak peeks because you guys do get the first access. Also during this training, if you have any questions at all, I believe you have chat function. You can put them in the chat or put them in the Q&A, and I will be pausing from time to time to answer any questions that you have. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and I will start sharing my screen. We are going to go with this one right here, and we are going to jump right into it. So in today's webinar, we are going to be covering how to use Glide to prepare, fill, send, and sign every realtor form in California. And then before we jump into the live environment, I will also be giving you that sneak peek of our new offers tool that is available starting today. So during today's training, we will be going over how to access Glide for free. We will be talking about how to verify that agent and transaction coordinator relationship. We will talk about how to create a transaction and how to add in state and local forms from your form library. We will also talk about filling out those forms and then sending for signature using Glide signatures or DocuSign. We will go over how to create some transaction templates and how to manage those clauses. So yesterday's process, as you can see on the left, uses multiple forms of communication, many different applications to complete all of your daily real estate transaction tasks. And this can be confusing and slow and leave room for errors as you're moving so many documents around between different apps. With Glide, you can manage multiple parts of the transaction process from one single platform. We focus on collaboration, compliance, and forms, and we've even created our own e-signature platform. So why Glide? Using Glide will allow you to get your tasks done faster, as you can see from Larry here. We give you a more simple interface that is quite modern in its user interface design that makes the transaction easier for all parties involved, including your clients. And then we are also a safer option because we have some smart features to protect you while filling out forms. So currently over 1/3 of all homes sold in California trust Glide for disclosures. That's about 43,000 agents, and I believe this number is a bit outdated. I've heard that we've surpassed 50,000 users, so that's very exciting. We have done a total of $85 billion in property value through transactions in Glide. We are partnered with 60 different associations and MLS partners like yours, so thank you so much for having us here today. And we have a 95% customer satisfaction score. So our support team is really awesome and they're here to help you be successful and complete your transactions. So as I'm sure you are aware by now, we are offered as a C.A.R. member benefit and also a local member benefit through your association. We have all of the 275 or so C.A.R. forms within Glide. And as C.A.R. updates those, or if there are ever any changes to the form, they are automatically updated in Glide. So you know that you are always getting the most current version of all of the forms. We also have your local area disclosures available in Glide. And if you are a broker or you have a brokerage, we are able to digitize custom brokerage forms as well. And you can access that by emailing brokerage@glide.com, and I'd be happy to help you get that set up. You can access Glide by going to the C.A.R. website through the Realtor Secure Transaction Portal, as you can see on the left screenshot right here, or you can go directly to glide.com. And when we jump into the live environment here in just a couple minutes, I will be showing you both of those things. So here is what you get as a C.A.R. benefit and as your local association benefit as well. Lots of great features here, some safety features as well. On my screen, you can see that you've got the ability to fill forms, send documents for signature for free using Glide signatures, guided PEDs and disclosures, a guided mobile avid, a brand new iOS app, and free brokerage accounts for brokers. We've also got your local form library, MLS Import, MLS PED integration, and now that MLS offers button as well, starting today. And then we've also got some priority trainings for you guys just like this one. So Glide Offers is here. This is the little sneak peek before we jump into the live environment. And I won't be doing a full demo of this today. You will want to attend one of our full offers trainings if you're interested in seeing how this all works. But you are the first group we are rolling this out to today. You will be able to fill, sign, and submit offers right through Glide, starting on your MLS. We've got another screenshot to show you right here. So this is what an offer will look like as you receive it. You've got all of your basic information there, some notes at the top of the screen. This is what it'll look like when you click into an offer that you've received. And then a really cool feature is the timeline feature. So you will be able to sync the dates in the contract with a timeline. So you'll see on the left, this is what it looks like when you begin to set it up. You'll upload your purchase documents, and we use technology to pull those dates out of the contract. It extracts the dates, and you can see over on the right, it's pulled all of those important dates out of the transaction, like the offer acceptance dates, when your earnest money is due, when the appraisal is due, etc. And then you can actually sync this to your Google Calendar. And I believe I have this. Oh, I didn't include the screenshot, but you can actually sync it to your calendar and invite all of the related parties as well. So if you have your lender on there as a party, maybe your title and escrow team as well, anyone else, an assistant, a TC, you can invite them all to these events, and it will create calendar invitations and email them invitations so these dates are on their calendar. So this is available and many, many more very cool features in Glide Offers. And like I said, if you're just joining us now, I did put a link in the chat to access a full Glide Offers training. And I believe those are starting this week. But before we jump into the live demo, I'm going to just talk about some of our other newer features available in Glide. As I mentioned, we have all of the C.A.R. forms. We've got your local area disclosures as well. And then we also have custom brokerage forms in one place. You can also upload your own PDFs or transaction documents. And here's another little screenshot of the offers tool that we've been previewing up until this point. But you can see this is what it looks like when you're going in to fill out that RPA form. It's probably kind of hard to see, but you've got a tiny little button here that says PDF view. So if you do prefer to view it in the forms view, you definitely can, but this guided interface that walks you through filling it out can be a lot easier and save you a lot of time. So part of your local member benefit is the MLS import feature. Instead of manually entering those addresses, listing agent, property details, APN number, all of that. You don't have to do that by hand anymore. You can just plug in the MLS number and the information will auto-populate throughout your transaction. So we also have a PED button now on each listing, similar to our offers button, but you can create these PEDs or generate them straight from the listing page, and then you can organize and track all of these from your Glide dashboard. So before we get into the live environment and I close out of this presentation, I just wanted to talk one more time about claiming your account because although it's a quick process, sometimes this can be a little confusing. So I would recommend, if you have never logged into Glide before, to go to glide.com, choose login in the upper right corner, and then choose continue with C.A.R. So if you can see on this little screenshot right here, you've got a couple different options. You can continue with C.A.R, Google, MLS, or just create an account. The easiest way, if you've never been in here before, is to continue with C.A.R because this will pre-verify your account and make sure that you have access to the right forms. So the forms that you see showing up in Glide are associated with your C.A.R account, your C.A.R number. So we want to make sure that we verify that relationship so that you have access to all the right forms. You can also log in directly through C.A.R, and I'll show you that in just one second. The one final thing to highlight is our brand new mobile app for iOS. So you can download this in the App Store. Just be sure to type in Glide for real estate agents, because there are some other Glide apps or purple apps that look just like this. So be sure you're finding Glide for real estate agents. And a common question we get is, do we have an Android app? We do not currently have an Android app, but we will soon. What's nice about Glide is that we're super mobile responsive. So even if you are on an Android or just not on an iPhone, on any phone, you can go to glide.com on your phone's internet browser, and it will behave very similarly. And I think I have a chat here. Is it available on Android phones? So yes, Tom, no app right now, but the website is very, very mobile responsive. So you can always just go to glide.com. All right, so I am going to close out of this training slides, and oh yeah, this is the link that I put in the chat. I'll just show you because I have it up here right now. You can choose to attend one of our disclosures webinars, a form filling one, a brokerage one. So if you are a broker, but the real exciting one right here is this Glide offers. So you can go to that page that I linked in the chat and click register here, and then you can choose from our options. And it looks like we have one starting tomorrow. So I would highly recommend attending one of those. But back to our training. So just quickly to go over what we're going to talk about, we'll talk about logging in, verifying those relationships, filling forms, sending for signature, and then managing some of your settings internally. Let me just keep an eye on this chat here as well. Perfect. Okay, so first I'm going to go to glide.com and show you how to log in there. So this is what the homepage looks like. I'm going to click login. I am already logged in, so I need to sign out. This is what you will see when you sign in for the first time. So I would recommend clicking this continuous C.A.R. button if you've never logged in, just because it's easier and it will save you a step down the line. You can also go directly to CAR.org, and on CAR.org, you have access to this Realtor Secure Transaction portal. So if you click on transactions right here, you are brought to all of your member benefits. You can also just click on Access Glide right here from this page. This will log you into C.A.R, and then after that, it'll log you into your Glide account. I'm just going to go back here and I'm going to type in my email address, type in my password, and now I am logged into Glide, and we see my transaction dashboard. So these are all of the transactions that I have created. Over on the left, we've got our buyer prospects for PEDS. We've got our workflows for disclosures, and then any archive transactions that we've removed from our active list right here. Let's start by just creating a transaction, and then we'll talk about verifying those transaction coordinator or assistant relationships. So I'm going to start by clicking New Transaction right here in the top right. And now we are brought to a guided workflow to set up our transaction. So I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm the primary agent on this transaction, and I'll hit continue. So from here, we can choose to enter an address by hand if we want to, or we can search by MLS and use MLS Import. So I'm going to select my MLS here. And for the purposes of demonstration, I'm just going to grab a random MLS number and hit continue. Perfect. So you'll want to verify that this information is correct based on the MLS number that you input. Just confirm some of these details here. And you'll notice that as we're clicking through this, our bar at the bottom is advancing. So we know that we are moving through this setup workflow. I will hit continue. And now we're going to choose what type of transaction we are creating. So I'm going to say that this is a listing and we are preparing it. Note that when you click on different options here, you get different status types. So pay attention to what type of transaction you're setting up and the status of the transaction. So I'll say listing and preparing, and then let me pause here because I saw some questions come in. Will our existing C.A.R. Lone Wolf transactions be accessible in Glide? No. So anything that is in Lone Wolf or zip form stays in zip form. They are a totally separate system. So what you've started in one system will finish out in one system. And then will this presentation be available in PDF that you can email to us? I don't know that I can share it via PDF, but I believe this is being recorded. And then you can always view those slides in any of our recorded trainings as well. So moving forward, and definitely keep those questions coming in. I want this to be interactive and make sure that you guys get all your questions answered. Next, we have this option to apply a transaction template. So we can see that these are all of my listing templates that I have set up in my account. I'm going to go ahead and we'll choose this San Diego listing checklist. And you see that we now get another option as well. So San Diego listing checklist, but maybe this is also a residential single family home. You can actually stack these checklists or templates so that they have all of the documents that you need. So you can do a specific template for the type of home that you're preparing, or you can do a template for the area that it's in. There's lots of different ways that you can get custom with these templates. Let's see, if taking a listing and there is no MLS number yet, what populates? I believe what will populate is based on tax records or based on the most recent listing that's come into the MLS. So I would recommend doing this if you know that there have not been any major updates made to the property. If it's something that's been majorly remodeled, there's been structural changes, rooms added or removed, sometimes it can be more trouble than it's worth to use an MLS import feature. But if it's something that you know is going to be generally pretty up to date and you'll only have to update a couple fields, it's probably fine to use. And what if you have not made any templates? So if you have not yet set up any templates, you will not see anything in here. You won't get the option to do a pop-up, but I will show you where you can go in and add those towards the end of our training today. So continuing on. And now we are being asked to add in our listing team. So adding in our listing team, we'll see that we already have our listing team / transaction coordinator here. And that is because I added him to a template. So you can actually add people to templates so they appear on every transaction of that type. So Canon, my transaction coordinator, is already on there. I don't even need to add him. If you have a co-list that you always use, you could of course plug them in as well. I won't add anyone else here. We'll just continue on. We can also add our seller in here. So I will add in our seller. Just to note, the fields that you do need to fill out are transaction role, entity type, and you can choose don't know if you're not sure yet, and then their first name and email address. So hitting save, and you'll see that we are almost done with this workflow. The next page that we are going to get is our details and parties section. So this is where you can review everything that you set up for your transaction, property information. This is where you can see some of the information that has pulled in from the MLS, listing date, listing price, remarks, etc. Here are some of the key dates. Now this is separate from the timeline feature. So just keep in mind that these dates are a bit different than the offers function. I will hit continue. And we are complete setting up our transaction now. We just have our suggested actions on our transaction dashboard. You will also have several different options over here. So you've got your overview that we're on. You can start your disclosure packages. This is where you can see offers. So I'll click on this and show you what it looks like. We don't have any offers yet, but this is what our link looks like. So when you click on the button on the MLS, or if you put this in your marketing remarks or just send it out, this is what it'll look like. They will be prompted to sign a PED or submit an offer and begin that workflow. Very exciting that that has launched today. Let's see what's in the chat. Is there an address book where you can add your contacts? Yes, Elizabeth, that is a great question. I will show you that really quick. So if you click your initials in the top right and then choose account settings, you'll see over here on the left, we have an address book. So you can import in here from Google, and I believe you can also import from Outlook. So you can link your account and all of your contacts will pop up in here. This saves you a ton of time when you're going in and setting up your transactions because you won't have to stop and enter a full name and email address for every single person. So that is a great question. And now, next thing that's probably pretty good to show you is how to get back to your transaction. To get back to your transaction, I'm just going to click glide in the top left. That'll bring us back to all of our transactions. and then I'll click this one, the one that we are preparing. And here we are. Sherry, yes, I believe this is being recorded. Your association will be able to send it out if they normally do that afterwards. If not, if you go to our help center, like I was up here, and if you type in webinar, you can always view a recording of our webinars that covers the same content. So the next thing that we are going to do is add forms to our transaction. We have set up our listing, and now it is time to add in some of these forms. I'm going to go ahead and collapse all these libraries so you can see what they look like. But this is what it'll look like when you have different form libraries available. And like I said at the beginning, this is based on your C.A.R. account. So we have our C.A.R. forms right here. I will collapse that, and now you can see all the different forms. Now, if we were to type in like an RLA, you'll see that it's grayed out. And that's because it tells us, it says this form has already been imported. Because I applied a template that had the RLA on it, we don't need to add it again. We know that we're not going to get duplicates. I will go ahead and just choose this COVID addendum just to show you. You'll just click Add Document here. So any new forms that have been added that have not yet been filled have this turquoise dot and it'll say new. That's how you know you have not yet filled it. When I see we have several questions in here. Okay, perfect. Yes, there will be a recording available later. Can you deal with multiple offers without setting up separate transactions? Yes, you can. You can manage your offers in here. You can counter terms. It is set up very well to handle multiple offers. And then does Glide offer a broker management portal to review and sign off on the agent's transactions? We do have a transaction management system, a TMS, that is currently a closed beta that we may be opening up again. We are working on this, and it is something that exists in Glide. So if you are interested in that, please email brokerage@glide.com. And then Wester has a good question. How do I reorganize the order of the selected forms? You can just drag and drop them. Whoops, I clicked on one. Let's pop out of here. So if I hover, it's kind of hard to see, but you see I get these 6 little dots. I can grab that and drag it into the order that you want. So you can move anything around that you want to. It's actually really cool. You can set up folders in here as well. So I like to set up a folder just preparing for my escrow and title documents. You can drag these folders around too. So if you want to stay hyper organized, that's how you do that. Let's see. Kelly says, what is in the disclosure package? Kelly, the standard defaults in Glide are the TDS, SPQ, the NHD report, and then the AVID form, but you can add in other disclosures as well. We have many different guided interfaces and many different forms, many different like standard disclosures as well in form format. Okay, something else to highlight before we click into a form. You've got this unique transaction email address right here. So you can actually click on this and you'll see up here that it copied to my clipboard. If I were to send an email to this address with a PDF attached, it will show up right here. So if the agent on the other side of your transaction emails you a document, you can just forward it to this email address and it will appear here to keep all your forms in one place. This is really handy so you don't have to open your email, save a form, find it somewhere on your computer, re-upload it to Glide, which I know it sounds silly, but that can take you, a couple minutes. If you're doing that for every single form 10 times a day, that's taking up a lot of your time that you could be out there talking to clients. So it's always better to just send it in and save yourself some time. All right. So I'm going to click into this RLA. And this probably looks quite familiar to you, pretty standard form filling software, but we have some cool smart features. So if you click into a people field, you'll see buyer, seller, landlord, tenant. It knows that this is a person and we are prompted to fill out more information. You'll also see that my brokerage name, my DRE license number, my name is all filled out because I filled this out in my settings. So I highly recommend setting up as much of this ahead of time as possible to save yourself time. So we can go through here, scroll through. What we need so far is auto-populated. But if we get to page 7, let's say that we need to add in some listing terms. And let's say that we have some standard listing terms that we always use for clarity for our clients. You can insert clauses in Glide and have a clause manager for any standardized legal language that you use regularly. So to insert a clause about our listing terms, I'm going to click on these three dots right here, and you'll see that it says Insert Clause. I'm going to click on Insert Clause, and then you'll see that we've got our clause library right here. And I can find my listing price subject to change, and I'm going to hit Insert. And now you'll see that listing price subject to change depending on days on market, my standard listing terms are in here. So if you have any standardized language that you use frequently on your contracts, you can build out a library, and I'll show you how to do that towards the end today, and then simply plug it in with 2 clicks. This can also be managed at the brokerage level. So if you are a broker and you have agents working under you, you can set up a clause library and templates that they can use and apply to all of their transactions if you want them to be completing these in a standard way. So now that I've added in a clause, I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And now that I have hit save, I have the option to download, sign, or email. And Kelly had a question, we have to build that clause in, correct? Yes, you will have to go in and build out those clauses ahead of time, just because every agent is a little different in what they want in their library. So I'm going to hit sign here to show you Glide signatures. So you've got your Glide signatures option right here. It's free. We also have a DocuSign option. So if you have an existing DocuSign account, you can go ahead and hit link account. And I don't have one, so it won't walk you through the whole workflow, but you would log into your account here, and then it would allow you to send for signature with DocuSign, do anything you would normally do within DocuSign. Something to note, if you are maybe an assistant or on a team and you work with multiple agents, be sure to switch out of the correct DocuSign account. So if you're filling out a transaction for agent A, and then you have agent B's DocuSign account signed in here, if you're signed in, you'll see a little email address and then it'll say change. Just be sure that you are in the right DocuSign account for the right agent account that you're in. For right now, we are going to use Glide signatures. And then we can see our documents right here. So this is the one that we've added, but maybe we want to add in another one. So I could actually open up my messy little file finder and I could grab and drop another one to put in here. Or I could click this drop down and add documents specifically from this transaction. So I'll go ahead and add in this mold advisory. And if you caught that, if you look right here, it says signature tabs available. I'll do another one so you can see it. It'll say detecting signature tabs. There it is, detecting tabs, and then signature tabs available. So Glide will auto tab out these forms because they were prepared in Glide so that you don't have to drag and drop any of those signatures. And then Candace says, if you choose download, will it save to your computer? Yes, it'll download it as a packet for your computer. So we are choosing right here to replace the original when signed. I like to use that option just so you don't have tons of copies of the same form with varying levels of signature in there. So I want it to remove any unsigned copies and replace a fully signed copy. So I'll hit continue. We are reviewing our signers and recipients now. So I am the listing agent. I do need to sign. Our seller also needs to sign. But maybe we want to add in our TC as a CC. So we are adding him in so that he will receive a fully signed copy once it's complete. Hitting continue. And this probably looks pretty familiar. You've got your form over here. You've got some preparation options over on the left. And then you get a high-level overview of your documents over here on the right. So scrolling down, we'll see that these tabs are auto-tabbed out. And we see over here that green is me, it's the listing agent. And then this purpley pink is Tammy, our seller. So if you do need to add in an additional block, you can always grab it and drag and drop if needed. You can also add in text fields right here. So if you want to designate a text field for your client to fill out, you could put a text line right here. You can assign it to them and then make it required. And you can make it bigger if you need to, but you can give them the option to enter text if needed. You can also add in a radio or checkbox button. Question we get a lot, what is the difference? Radios are used for things that have one of two answers. So you're saying this property has like this kind of heating or this kind of heating. Whereas a checkbox might be used for something that has multiple different options, such as what appliances are staying behind with the home. So it's up to you what one you want to use. We just give you multiple different options. Let's scroll down and just confirm that our blocks are all placed as they should be. And we'll move on to our next document. Got our little mold advisory there. And now that we are good to go, I'm going to hit continue. And now we have our message to recipients here. So this is where you can change the subject line, please sign, offer package, and you can add in a message, please sign ASAP. You can save these as templates as well. So if there's like a form that you like to explain to your clients, or maybe it has a confusing line in it that you get lots of questions about, you can create a template right here and say, please sign ASAP. Please take a look at line 7 on the RLA and let me know if you have questions. So you could hypothetically save that as a template if you want to remind every client that you send this form to that you are available to help if they have questions. Let's see. Elizabeth says, can you have the docs signed in a specific order? Elizabeth, not right now. We do not have the ability to set signing order, but this has been a very popular request. So our engineering team is working on this. So scrolling down, I need to sign as a listing agent. Our seller needs to sign. And then our TC is receiving a fully signed copy. And we are just reviewing our documents one more time here before we hit continue. So we are sending our signature request right now. It's been sent successfully. And because I am a signer on here, I'm given the option to sign now. So I am going to go, and I'm not sure if you can see my little email pop up on my screen share, but I do have an email pop up in the top right corner that says email from Glide, letting me know that I have been invited to sign some documents. I will hit sign now. And this will bring us into our signing. So this is exactly what your client will see and what their interface looks like in Glide. And we'll give it just a second. Perfect. We will agree with the terms and begin. So this looks pretty similar to other e-signatures I'm sure you've completed in the past. You will just click through here and sign as needed. Candace says, if you have a client you need to scan an email because they don't like signatures, how do you print? Candace, I will show you as soon as I get out of the screen how we can do that. I'm not going to go all the way through and sign this, but that is how you would do it. When you're done, there will be a button that says continue at the bottom, and then you will, it'll go on to the next signer, and then you'll receive a fully signed copy when it's done. So let's go back to glide.com and let's talk about Candace's question about if you do need to print one of these out. Oh, e-signatures, you need to scan an email because they don't like e-signature. So you just want to send it to them via email is what you're asking? Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'll show you how to do that. And then Wester says, does the agent have a choice to have clients sign an order at a time, or are they all signing at the same time? Wester, right now, it'll go to the first person that you input. So if you have like a couple and you put one person first, as soon as they fully sign it, it will become available for the other person to sign. And then does the signer scroll so they can read it, or does the program just jump to the next spot? You can scroll, but if you do click on the signature tab, it will bump you to the next spot. So Kelly, it's kind of up to the client how they navigate through that page. Okay, so let's go back and talk about Candace's question where they just want to receive the form via email, not through e-signature. That is totally possible. So you can go back, we're on our main documents dashboard here. We have not gone into e-signature and we just want to send it via email. So that's pretty simple. All we do is check off some of these boxes, as many as you want, and then you can choose email. So this will email it to them as 3 individual PDFs. Now, maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe you just want to send them, one document instead of a bunch of little documents. You could always choose merge, and we can call this offer packet. I guess this is a listing, so it technically wouldn't be an offer packet, but let's say that it is. And then this combines it into one single PDF for you. So then you have this one single thing and you could check it off and you can say email, and then it sends it to your clients straight from Glide. If you do choose to send it with Glide, it will CC you so that you know it actually does go out. You can also connect to Gmail and just send it straight out of your own email. What's really cool about that is that you'll see it in your sent box in your email. So if you want an extra layer of assurance that it's going out, that's a good way to do it. All right, let's see. Can you send to a couple to sign simultaneously? Tom, not right now. I believe it has to wait for one to finish before the other one is allowed to go in there. And then does Glide let the agents know that the client has looked at the document? Yes. That is a great question, Kelly. So we have this very cool activities section over here. So if you click on your activity section, you can see every little thing that happens with the transaction. So you can see when we created it, all the way up to when we added our client. And it really, on this side, it's just been me in here sending things and stuff. But if you do have a client, you can filter by your party. So if I want to see everything that my TC has done in here, I can filter by him. So you could hypothetically filter by your client and it would tell you if they had opened your email or taken a look at your documents. You can also see your email communications right here. So if we had sent that email out of Glide to send them their documents, that would show up right here. And then one more piece, this signature section. So if you hover over your people, you can also see if they've viewed your signature. So we can see that I viewed the signing and clicked into it, but Tammy, our client, has not yet. Let's see. Wester says, if clients fill out the TDS and SPQ manually, will we be able to replace the blank docs with the completed docs when received, as you implied or stated earlier? That is a good question that I am happy to look into. So let me just see if I'm able to add in. Yeah, so you can go ahead and add in your TDS and SPQ manually as normal fillable PDF forms. And then you could go through your normal workflow like we talked about, where you could fill this out, send for signature. And then as long as you make sure that little box is checked that says replace original when fully signed or what it says, you can choose that and it will replace it. I do not believe that's possible with the guided workflow. I think the guided workflows kind of eliminates that need. But if you are using the normal fillable PDFs, you can do it that way. All right, so the last 2 things I'm going to show you, and if you have any questions or want to see anything else, definitely put it in the chat and I'll be sure to show you before we wrap up. I think we'll have a little bit of extra time here. The 2 final things I wanted to show you are 3 actually: verify your TC relationship, create a template, and manage clauses. So let's start with verify a TC relationship. I'm going to click on my initials in the top right and then choose account settings. And then I'm going to choose account preferences. So this profile info is just some basic information. This is where I plugged in my office's DRE number to have it populate on my contracts. Same with my company name. So be sure to fill that out. But I'm choosing account preferences over here on the left. And this is where you can change your password if you are ever logged in but locked out, forgot your password. And then here is where you can plug in your assistants or transaction coordinators. So if you want your assistants or transaction coordinators to have access to all your files and manage them on your behalf, have them send out for signature, have them review things, have them add forms to a template, anything you need them to do in your transactions, they can actually have their own Glide account. And if you plug them in right here and invite them, it will verify them and connect them to you so that they can work on your behalf. This is great because you don't have to share passwords. You can each have your own account, and then you as the agent can have more control over what they're seeing. If you are a TC or an assistant, or if you as the agent would rather have your TC drive this process, your TC or assistant could come into this Agents You Support section and type in your email address. So they could say, I support agent@glide.com and hit invite, and then it will send you, the agent, an email and ask them to verify or confirm that relationship. Now, this is to invite TCs to access all of your transactions across the whole platform. You can also invite them to individual transactions during that transaction setup workflow. All right, so the two final things I wanted to show you are how to create a template and how to manage clauses. So clicking on my initials again, these are some pretty simple steps. We've got our transaction templates and our clause manager. We'll start with transaction templates. And when I click on that, you can see all of the templates that I've created, who can see them, and what type they are. I'm going to click on Create New Template. And from here, we've got our template title. Maybe I'll call this San Diego Single Family Purchase. And we will call it a purchase and create template. So when we are in here, this kind of looks similar to our normal transaction, but this is setting it up. So we've got our document section and our details and party section. And I'm not sure why I offer packages here, but you won't need this in terms of templates. So you can go in and add documents. So this is a San Diego single family. So maybe we want an RPA form on here. Maybe we want the summary as well. Over here on the left, you can sort by different types of documents. So you can sort by purchase supplements and addenda. And we could maybe add in this addendum or anything else that you need. You can also sort by library over here. So if you have your local library, your C.A.R. library, and a brokerage library, we could choose that we only want to see the C.A.R. forms, and that'll pop up. I'm going to choose add 3 forms, and these documents will be added to our transaction. And so this is adding them to the template. We're basically building a blueprint for future transactions. So we're not going to fill any of these out. However, if you wanted to add a line of text on a form and then always have that line of text appear on every contract, you can add it in here. So if we were doing like a listing one and I wanted to add in that listing term that I did a clause for that said listing price subject to change depending on days on market, I could actually click into a form on a template and fill that out. You can also create folders here. So if you saw before how I had my escrow docs folder, I'm going to make another escrow docs folder right here and then just drag it to the bottom. So you can set up folders if you want to stay organized that way and give yourself a space to upload like any mortgage documents or anything like that. It's really up to you. My other favorite part of this is the details and parties section. So if you remember way back when we created that transaction, my transaction coordinator, Cannon, was actually automatically added. And that is because I added him on the template. He's my buyer team, he's my transaction coordinator, and then I will choose to automatically invite him whenever this template is applied. I'm saving him, and then this is what the invitation he will get looks like. So you can customize it if you want to. And note that when these brackets are here, it will fill in that information. So if it says transaction, it's going to plug in our transaction address. Recipient will be their name, obviously. And then invite link will be a nice purple button for them to click on to come into Glide. So I'll hit invite. And we can also fill out more information down here. So if we said this is single family, I can plug in single family. Generally, you won't want to fill out too much of this information just because it's unique to every transaction. But I'm going to click save right here. And that has saved our details and parties section. And that's how you create a template. You can create an unlimited amount of templates, and there are an unlimited amount of situations you probably want to create templates for, so totally up to you. And the next thing we are going to look at is Clause Manager. So I clicked on my initials again, I clicked on Clause Manager, and this is pretty simple. So we can just say create new clause. We can call this San Diego clause. I'll just call it test, but you can put in as much text as you want. If it does happen to be too long for the line, it'll just generate a text overflow addendum for you. And we'll click create clause. And then it's just right there. And you have access to it when you are going through and filling out your forms. If you would like to delete a clause, you can just click on these, click delete, and it will go away. So I am going to go back to our transaction dashboard, and that is everything I had to show you today. We logged in, we talked about the C.A.R. verification, we made a transaction, added those forms, sent for signature, created a template, and managed clauses, and we talked about the fancy new offers tool. Let's see. So Wester is asking a question right now that I'm going to talk about, but if you guys want to pop in any last minute questions before we wrap up, now is the time. Yes, Wester says, can you review how to initiate and manage the PED trail? So you would most likely generate this on the MLS, and I am not able to log into the MLS right now. So that's where you would start, but you can also start it within Glide. So we could go in here to buyer prospects, and we could choose new buyer prospect. We will add in our buyer's agent. So I'll say that is me and hit save and continue. So now let's add in our buyers. I will use Jesse here and hit continue. You could add in multiple people here if you have multiple people visiting a property. And now our main option is to fill and sign a PED form. So I'm going to go ahead and choose that. And this is where we can add in our property. So I will just type in this one, and we will say the listing agent will send this one to Tammy, brain+tammy@glide.com, and hit save. If we are going to another property, if I could type, perfect, and another listing agent, and hit save. This will generate for however many properties that you are adding on here. So we'll hit continue, and then we will enter who is visiting these properties. So we'll hit add agent. And if you do enter this workflow from the MLS, you will be brought directly into this workflow. So it'll be exactly the same. It just changes how you get there. So whether you click that PED button or you go in through Glide, this is what it'll look like. So we are not going to add in another agent. We could add in another buyer and then any other entrance right here. So if we have a vendor with us or a family friend or something like that, you can plug them in. This is where you enter any COVID information, just confirming that no one has had any symptoms and that there are no accompanying minors. If there does happen to be an accompanying minor, you can just plug them in right here in this field. And it's pretty simple. So now we can see that it's generating our PED forms for entry. We'll watch it go, and it bumps us right over here. And it is now asking Jesse to fill and sign this PED form. So we could just, we could download them if we wanted a PDF. We could choose to sign later and just store them in our account, or we could choose to send out for signature right now. And so I clicked send for signature, and it does always take a little bit longer when I'm screen sharing, so thanks for bearing with me. And then this looks pretty familiar as to when we were setting up the transaction or our normal forms. DocuSign where you can log in, or Glide signatures where we can continue for free. So this is just some standard language, letting them know this is what it is and that the PEDs are attached. And we have sent that signature request out to Jesse. So we can now see that this is out for signature, hasn't yet signed it, and the two documents are attached. What does the listing agent see when PEDs are sent to them? So I'm not able to show you that side of the process just because I don't have the ability to fully sign and send it back. But they will just receive the standard fully signed PED form. So this is what it will look like, the standard C.A.R. form. Yes, how I started the process of creating templates. So in order to create a template, let me just go back to Glide. So you are on your main glide.com homepage. You would click on your initials in the top right corner, and then you would choose transaction templates and then create new template. And then as soon as you select your title and transaction type and click create template, we'll give it a second, you will be brought into your kind of dashboard to set up this transaction. Yes, and no need to hit save here or anything. As you add things, it will automatically save for you. All right, any other questions or last minute things that you guys want to see? I'll just wait for a minute. Awesome. All right. Well, no other questions. Thank you guys so much. Let me pop out of this screen share. Thank you so much for your time today. That was super fun. I'm really glad that I got to show you guys some of the fancy new offers tools. I'm just going to paste this. Whoops, that's the wrong thing. That's my unique transaction ID. I'm going to paste our training link in the chat again, in case you guys want that. And then I'm also just going to share right now some recorded webinars. So if you are not able to make any of our live trainings, we do have some recorded webinars that I shared out. They are updated really frequently, and there's actually a sneak peek of the offers one in there. So if you want to go take a look and try that out, you are more than welcome to. One more thing before I sign off. So if you need support@glide.com, or use the chat in the top right corner of our website. It just says support. They are really awesome and really speedy to get you help if you have any questions. So definitely utilize them. And yeah, if you have any questions, send them there. And North San Diego will be sending out a recording, or will make it available for you. I think they said, let's see, it will be available on nsdcrealtorstv.com. So thank you so much, everyone. Great to see you here today, and have a great day. Bye.
Thanks, Raina.
Thanks so much. See ya.
Okay, bye.
Bye.